Shay Bellasea. Is that how you pronounce your name?
Bellasea.
Bellasea.
Yeah, like
Shay,
Bella and C.
Shay Bellasea
Yeah.
of Athens Craniosacral Therapy.
That's right.
Welcome to the pod.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. And so like maybe just like introduce yourself and like how you got into this.
Yeah, so, gosh, I guess I'll have to start with my mom. So she's a massage therapist and has been doing it for, I don't even know how long, over, 20, 30 years or something. So it's sort of been in my life for a really, really long time, but never, ever thought of doing it myself. Yeah. But then somewhere along the line, 5, 6 years into my current careers or other career, I should say, I just got to the point where I was like, I can't imagine doing this for the next, 40 years of my life,
Yeah.
like tied to a computer in an office by myself. Like I couldn't fathom that. So I was sort of seeking other options in my life, and I have always been interested in just holistic, natural health medicine, Eastern medicine, just all of the alternative routes. So it's just a really strong interest in there, but didn't really know kind of where I fit into it all. So I was just doing some research, and I actually was applying to Chinese medicine. I was kind of going to go into acupuncture, Chinese medicine route, and I got accepted to a couple schools, Portland, West Coast, but then I started freaking out again. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be 40 years old and I'm going to be like back into like $100,000 or more in debt, like starting a new career. I'm like, do I really, that doesn't give me any more freedom, So there was a local massage school when I was living at Seattle at the time, and they had this novice class going, and I was like, what the hell? Like, I don't think I'm going to do this, but it's a day of my life. I can go see how it feels to be on the other side of the table. And so I did it. I was like, I'm kind of into this. I can see, and it's like a year versus like 3 or 4 years and much cheaper. And, knowing my mom's life, I know there's a lot of different possibilities and directions you can go as a massage therapist. There's just so much out there now. So I knew that I didn't have to just be like rubbing people's back, like with an elbow in their back. I knew that like that didn't have to be what I was going into. And I knew about craniosacral therapy already and was really intrigued by it from the very beginning. So I almost went to massage school just to do the craniosacral therapy. So I guess that's a long-winded way of saying how I got into it. And so after I got my massage license, I went into a craniosacral certification program, and that is the focus of my work.
So explain craniosacral therapy.
It's a really gentle, light touch work. It's born of the osteopathic tradition, and it really focuses on inherent health and our innate healing mechanisms in the body. So it's all hands-on. Just that where the body is always like orienting itself towards health and has like we can heal ourselves if we give it a chance, if we listen to it, and remove some of the stressors that we put on it. So there's so much wisdom to be had. It just has to be listened to, and sometimes it takes an outside person to kind of direct their attention and sit with you and be that neutral observer to kind of tap into it. So it helps. So like that's part of it. Another way it works is putting you in like a hyper relaxed state. It can help drop you from like our beta cognitive waking thinking state into the alpha brain waves, and just gets you really relaxed. So that's really the only way your body can heal, is if it's in a relaxed state. You're never going to heal if you're in a hyper-stressed state. Yeah. So just getting you into that state is healing in and of itself.
Like is this also like sympathetic, parasympathetic?
Yeah. You drop into the parasympathetic state. Most of the time. I can't say like I haven't had a person there that just can't kind of sink in and let go and be held. That can happen. But for the most part, I have a pretty good success rate.
Yeah, cool,
Yeah.
cool. So then, like, what are the types of things, like, one of the videos that you posted more recently was, like, you know, people, like, come to craniosacral therapy as, like, a last result. You know, like, what, yeah, if you want to, like, touch on that, like, the types of people that are coming, or, like, what you're healing.
Yeah, I think
working
I
with.
said if people come, I say that because I think there's a lot of misconceptions that it's just like complete whack. It's like woo woo.
Yeah.
It's out there, like it's all in your head, whatever, you know. And I mean, it's the tricky part of it versus like pharmaceuticals is you can't run a clinical trial easily on this type of work. So yeah, you're not gonna find the length of studies in the scientific journals to sort of back up things. Although the technology is catching up and the research is catching up. Like things are coming out more in journals and whatnot. But so I think that's a piece of it. And the work is subtle. It's deep, but it's subtle.
Mm-hmm.
And transformation changes aren't usually going to happen instantaneously. And, you know, if you go to get a massage or something, like, you feel it. Like, you could feel someone putting pressure in your back. So you think that something is obviously happening, right? But when it comes to the subtle work, sometimes, and especially if it's on the energetic side of things and your subtle body where the changes happen first, those changes often don't manifest in like the physical outward reality until a little bit later. So sometimes even though something happened, there was a shift, a release, you know, a whatever, you might not even notice it for like 2 to 3 weeks later.
Yes.
And you may not even make the connection, right?
It's like, I want the carrot right now. Give me the carrot.
And like some of these things are just years and years and layers of things that need to be released and untangled, and it's like it's a process.
When you say that, like, what do you mean? Like those things, like your body holding, like things,
Stress, energy. You know, even like just a simple injury or like a car accident, your body gets shuffled around, and maybe there's something that just never resolved itself after that. Like, you know, out in nature, a animal gets hurt. What do? They like, you know,
immediately
they shake it
tremor.
off. They shake it off. Yeah. And we don't do that.
Yeah.
So a lot of things just get stuck.
Yeah.
They never get a chance to be released. So it could be, a physical trauma that happened, or it could be your just everyday stress.
Yeah. Grief.
Intense
like just
emotions,
anything. Yeah.
grief. Yeah.
Wow. Like, yeah. So these things are subtle. Like, and then also, like, your point, like, I think you were just even posting about it today. Like, it's going to take multiple sessions. It's not like a fascial release thing where it's like, oh, I had a knot in my back and, wow, like, it feels a little looser now. Like, it maybe, I mean, and even in a massage, like, it might take multiple sessions. But, like, what is the benefit of coming back for more sessions?
Yeah, I mean, for one, there's a couple of reasons. One being, like, you need to be safe and you need to be comfortable and you need to feel held and supported. So it might take, one session for you, especially if you're like completely new to the work, like, or any subtle type of work, or you've never had a massage, you've never met me before. You're going to walk in this room and you're going to be nervous. You're going to be like, I don't know what to expect. What is she going to do? What am I supposed to do? Like, why is it so quiet? She's not doing any, your mind's probably going to be running in circles when the first time you come in and be like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. I don't know if I'm allowed to swear, but
I cuss all the time. Yeah, for sure.
So that's just one thing. It's just getting you to the point where you can come in, you're comfortable, you feel safe to, be vulnerable. Because, that's when the work truly happens, is when you're vulnerable enough to, like, let go of what you need to let go of. So that's, like, a big part of it. And secondly, a lot of it is just we're trying to undo patterns. And obviously, if it's a pattern, it's something you or your body has been holding on to for a long time.
Can you give me an example?
So it could be easy as like a postural thing. Like you sit at a desk and your arm's over here and you tilt your head this way and like, you're bending over and your head's forward. So like that's a whole pattern that your body has just sunken into, and you
like
keep
subconsciously.
going
Yeah,
back to
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So it could just be like that sort of a pattern.
That makes sense.
But it can also just be like a mentality or like a thought process that you're looping through, and you're going to need more than one session, because you're going to have to you're going to need a few consistent reminders in the very beginning, so that you don't just go back into that pattern. You just revert to your old ways of
like
being.
when I start to get like anxious, or maybe if I'm like thinking about something, my glutes contract really hard. I'll just be standing at the sink doing dishes and something, or like my fiance will come by and just be like, "Hey, unclench," and I'm like, "Oh shit,"
Exactly.
Yeah, it is like the weirdest shit though. Like I can't explain that.
Yeah, we don't know how to relax anymore. Like a lot of people come in, they're like, I don't even know how to physically like let my body relax.
Yeah.
I don't know how to like, a hard part of our work is like letting people let us support them. They're always trying to help, like, let me move my arm for you, and I'm like, no, that's not the point. So I mean, it's like it's a relearning, or I guess a forgetting, a process of like teaching, reminding your body how to relax again. How do you get back to that state? We're always going to have stressors, but the goal is to like move through those and then go back to not a stress state.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a continual like reminder in the beginning, like of let go.
Yeah, just so hard. It's so hard.
Yeah. Another reason you may have to come back several times is like, it's usually a process. Like maybe you get to this layer in the very first session, and then it's an onion, you're peeling back the layers. And sometimes like you're going to have to address something up in the skull before something in your sacrum's going to release, before it's going to you're going to feel the pain in your foot go away. So it might be a step-by-step process of unfolding and unraveling things.
Yeah, that's so weird to like conceptually. Yeah, something in the skull to that. I mean, it's all connected. It makes sense. That's crazy.
Yeah, and what presents itself is what I can work with. Like, you can't force something to change if your body isn't ready to make that change.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So the certification program, like, what are the technical components of that you're learning about?
I mean, a big piece of it is anatomy and physiology. So we're learning all the whole bones of the cranium and the craniosacral system.
What is when you say craniosacral system, what do you mean?
We're mainly talking about the central nervous system.
Yeah.
This is the brain and spinal cord, and then all of the brains of the skull, primarily the occiput, and then you have the spine, and then it attaches into the sacrum, like your tailbone, hips. And you could also say like the reciprocal tension membrane, the membrane system that kind of holds that central nervous system together. So it surrounds like the brain and the spinal cord, and then it attaches into the inside of your skull. And then also the cerebrospinal fluid is also considered part of the craniosacral system. So we're helping to like bring all those bones and tissues into better alignment and achieve a more fluid, more ease of movement for the cerebral spinal fluid, make sure it's getting to where it needs to be, and there's no like restrictions along the way. That's it carries nutrients to your central nervous system, and it takes away waste. It cushions the brain. It's just super important. So you want to make sure it's flowing freely as it should be. Yeah.
Earlier you mentioned misconceptions. What are other big misconceptions of craniosacral therapy?
I don't know.
Yeah, just like the overall just woo wooey. Like, what
I
is
think
this?
I think another thing, the woo woo for sure that but I think a lot of people think that it's only like for your head, because they hear cranial or whatever. So they think it's just, and we spend a lot of time at the head because that's where a lot of the attachments are. That's where a lot of the bones are that we can work with. But it's not just for your head. It's not just for headaches.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big thing that people think it's just, well, what's it going to do for my knee? you're at my head.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of
Yeah, well,
thing.
like you were just explaining, sometimes you got to work through the head to get to the sacrum. Like, yeah, it's just, but I mean, it's counterintuitive. Like, if you're not like deep in the space to understand how everything is connected, you know what I mean? Like, if you don't know anything about anatomy or like you know, or holistic health in general, like I could see how that just doesn't make sense.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's probably another thing I come up against for sure. Yeah.
Cool. What else? What else do you want to share? Like, what are some good resources that you use? Like, somebody that is skeptical and, you know, like I mean, because you post, like, some podcasts and stuff like that. Like, are there good resources that would, like, help somebody learn? Like, maybe just even ease their tension. Is like some people, like, learning more about it. Like, maybe they get some sort of an expectation that, guess what, you're going to have to let go of when you come in the room anyways. But, like, yeah, what would you tell somebody, like, to learn more about it?
Oh, that's a really good question. I mean, there aren't like a ton of books that are just for like, you know, leisure reading, but my memory is very poor right now with 3 little kids. So there's a couple books that are like easier and more like a really quick, easy
accessible.
Reads. Yeah, if anybody is interested, I can, you know, try to remember what those titles are and get them out to people. But I'm kind of a podcast junkie, so like whenever I just come across a podcast that happens to mention craniosacral or somebody like they mention that's what they, you know, they go to this person and they get this from it, I like to share it just to, you know, spread the word a little bit. Like,
Are there any types of like so like somebody that is going through craniosacral therapy, what else can they do to like support that?
Yeah, it's really individual. Kind of depends on what you're coming into. Like I usually am able to give you a few takeaways of how you can support yourself. Like there's some techniques that I can show you that you can be doing on yourself daily. You know, and just like a massage therapist, I might feel like this stretch could help you out, or this movement, this exercise can help you out, or sometimes I gear more towards like meditation or yoga nidra or that type
yoga
of
nidra
thing.
Is like the like super meditative thing,
like,
right?
Yeah, like a progressive relaxation. I kind of walk you through. You know, like I said, a lot of people just need to learn how to relax. Yeah. And so that's like going to be their biggest helper there is relearning that. So.
Yeah. Can you just like start working on somebody and like immediately start telling them like, oh wow, like well, I don't know, like there's some tension here. Like, I don't know, what do you feel like as you're gaining experience in this and stuff? Does that question make sense to you?
Yeah, it does. I tend to start at the feet, like 97% of the time, because that's where I can feel the subtle rhythms the best, and that also gives me, it's kind of a place where I can do like a general assessment, a general read, and find those areas of tension. And I think that's...
So what do you mean by that? Like find the tension? Like you're just, these slow, gentle movements, like you can just notice like a point in the movement where you're like, that feels sticky? Yeah. Is it just all like comparative? Like you understand what like a clean, untensed like motion would be?
Yeah, I mean, I know sort of what generally it should feel like. Yeah. So when it's not presenting that way, that's how I make my assessments. But the feet, I think mostly what I feel when I say I can sort of pinpoint regions that there is tension or something catching or not moving as it should, I'm really tapping into just like the fascial system. Because if I give just a little bit of traction on the feet, it's going to catch somewhere up along the body. And so if it's... And then from there, I can usually pinpoint a region like, oh, I just need to stay here at the lower. I need to stay at the feet. I feel like lately I've been doing a lot of work just at the feet. Like touching the feet, I can access the fascia all the way up through the entire body. Like
via what fascia, mechanism? I don't understand. What do you mean?
The fascial system. I mean, your fascia attaches on the bottom of your feet, goes up all around your back and over in your forehead, and like your feet are attached to like your tongue through the fascial system. So I mean, if you're, you know, so it's just, you can feel when you really hone in and are focused on what you're feeling, you can just feel how high up in the body it's sticking.
That's interesting. Wow. Does it take a lot of presence? Is that probably the biggest deal? Is just being present with it? Like you
Yes,
mentioned, being a mom of 3 kids and shit like that. Yeah. How do you? Maybe you're walking into your studio, or how do you regulate that, like as a practitioner?
Yeah. So right now, I like to make sure I allow plenty of time to get myself there, get set up, and then leave. I prefer to have at least 20 minutes to sit and meditate and get myself centered and grounded before my first client of the day.
Yeah.
Because I come from like a chaotic
Stimulated
household, stimulation,
environment.
like lots of, so it takes me longer now than it used to like be ready for my first client. But, so that, it definitely is a big piece of my day.
That's cool.
Office,
What like age range is this effective at? Like, I mean, like, because I feel like sometimes I see people talking about even with like babies,
it's so.
Or like they'll be touching their foot or like moving their hip, and then you can like see their hand like moving, and it's just like what's going on? So like you can even a child like immediately out of the womb, like this is effective.
Yes, I mean it's so important. I wish every baby could have this work done. As a baby, because that could prevent, a lot of things in their life, because we do, even if they have like a perfect birth, there's still a little, birth is a huge traumatic event, even when it's like beautiful and perfect.
Yeah.
So, and how is the baby like organized inside the womb?
Yeah.
And, where did they get a little tug when they were getting pulled out that like, stretch a little too far, or are they? So there any little thing like that, and even after they're born, we get them all swallowed up, and so we kind of restrict their movement, and so if they aren't free to stretch and have all their like organic, natural movement, then they can develop those tensions patterns early on.
Interesting.
And also, they also take on sort of like the energetics of their mother and their surroundings.
Yep.
So if the mother was under a lot of stress, they may come out with that already in their system, and that might just be causing their fascial tensions.
That's crazy to think, yeah.
Yeah, and the cool thing about babies, though, is they're so malleable, and like, so treatments can be really quick, and sometimes it just takes like 2 or 3, and
it's like if it would feel like there's, would you say like forgetting or unlearning? It would seem that there's less unlearning for them, because they don't have like all the whatever, just like cognition of like, I don't know. It would just kind of make sense. How would you even know that that's something your baby would need? Is just like, paying acute attention, and you're like, I don't know, you just like notice something. Again, maybe you notice something weird about the way that they're crawling, or maybe they just like their hand is always in a weird thing. It's just like acute attention on them. And then, I get not having that like just Western pharmaceutical, like let me just, but you see those like baby chiropractors and stuff like that.
Yeah, chiropractor is good for them too. But a lot of people would bring their baby in if they're having breastfeeding troubles.
Like getting the baby to breastfeed, or like the mom?
Getting the baby to be able to do that, the suckling, or maybe they're spitting up a lot, or, they're colicky, or they're...
What does colicky mean?
They just like, they'll cry and cry and cry and cry, and you just like, nothing will like soothe them.
Yeah. They're just trying to communicate that something's wrong.
Yeah,
it's
something's wrong. Yeah.
Babies don't know how to express. Everything is the worst thing they've ever felt. Like the first stomach ache, they're like, God, this is the worst thing I've ever felt in my life. Like, it makes sense why they're so emotional.
Yeah. But torticollis, like if the neck is like kind of being held twisted, like I said, sleeping troubles, digestive troubles, and any like sort of developmental delays. So like if they're not, sitting up at the time you would expect them to be able to sit up by themselves, or if, they're crawling like one-legged, or, just little things like that. Yeah.
That makes sense, yeah. That's cool. So like, and then obviously like all the way through like a senior, for sure.
Totally,
Yeah.
yeah. That's the cool thing about the work is it's good for any age, and I mean especially like even like the older clients, like they might not be able to handle like more aggressive like massage type work.
Yeah.
So this is so gentle. It's good for any age.
Yeah. That's really
And it
cool.
can do it fully clothed, which makes it just feels like a little safer to
Yeah,
people.
for sure.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So then what is like booking an appointment like? Do you have like different like length sessions, like stuff like that? Like
My typical session is an hour.
Yeah.
And that's what I recommend most people do. I've toyed with doing a little bit longer sessions, but I find that so much can happen in an hour, and it's good to give your time to integrate the changes that are made then, rather than kind of trying to do too much at all at once and
Yeah.
overbearing the system.
Yeah, because can you kind of like
Yeah,
also what interval do you recommend people visit? Is it like once a week thing, every other week, like twice a week?
Like if you're first starting out, I recommend like once a week for like 3 sessions would be fantastic.
Yeah.
A lot of people have a trouble like making that happen. So I think a 2-week interval is also, I can work with that. It's doable, yeah. You just don't want to wait too long because your body will just kind of undo all of the things that we've done. The work's cumulative, so you want to be coming in more frequently in the beginning. And I think like 5 sessions is a pretty good, average, I'll say. It's like if you're trying to resolve something.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a little bit something you've been dealing with like for a longer, or it's kind of like more deep-seated, you might need more like 10 sessions to really find a
it all
shift.
matters on the context of the person. Yeah, that makes sense.
The exception to the 1 hour is like babies and really little ones.
Yeah.
After the first session, after I get to know them, they usually do better with shorter sessions, just because it's hard to keep them, comfortable and for much longer than that. And they work, like I said, their bodies change so quickly that you don't really need a whole hour to work with. Yeah.
That's cool. How do people learn, or like how does somebody book? AthensCraniosacral.com?
Yep, that's it.
Nice.
Yeah, pretty
And
easy to
16 West State Street. It's like kind of close to right next to the antiquity store and like Casa up on West State.
Right, the block of Casa and Obetti's.
Yeah.
16 West State Street. Right now I'm seeing clients in Body Shop and Spa. It's a little historical building, I believe. Really, really cute place. Shout out to Sarah, who lets me use her space. She's been just amazing. So I'd like to thank her for sure, Sarah Schum.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How often do you take appointments? Like, do you have like a set schedule? Like, you take people on like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? Is it every day of the week?
Tuesday, Thursdays, and occasional weekends. Saturday, Sunday. Usually at least twice a month. You can catch me there.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh, I mean, do you have anything else you'd like to share?
I don't think so. I think that about covers it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Shay Bellasea, Bellasea?
Yes,
C.
Bellasea.
Bellasea. I appreciate you coming on the podcast. I think what you're doing is cool. It really interests me. I think there's something to like the Eastern medicine. Like I don't know why I'm preferential to it, but it just kind of makes sense. Like the subtlety of it. Like the other thing, like not making claims. Like I'm gonna heal this versus like I'm going to like bring awareness and like subtleness to your body. Like I think those are the types of things that make me more open to it. Is like the lack of that, right?
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
Yeah, I like to get people involved in their own process. I think it helps to get people just become more aware of what's underlying it all.
Yeah.
So they can, do their own work
Yeah,
when they leave the table.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thanks so much, Shay. Appreciate it.
Thank you.